Hi, welcome to another typology interview. I'm here with Joey. You want to be called Joey? This is what it says here in the comments.
Joey's fine with me.
Joey, all right. It's really good to have you. I've talked to you a few times. I've seen a bunch of your stuff, so you always post. You're very active, so it's nice to finally actually get to do this. So yeah,
No,
thanks
that's
for
great.
coming.
Yeah, for sure. I've been looking forward to this all week, so I'm really excited.
Nice, awesome. Okay, so how long have you been into typology? Like you're young too, right? You're only like 20 something?
I'm gonna be 29 actually.
Oh,
In
okay.
about yeah.
Okay, okay. Cool. So how long have you been into typology for?
So I've been into typology since I was like 19, so almost like 10 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And yeah, it kind of came about like in a weird way. Like I was dating somebody, and they wanted to see if I was compatible, so they made me take one of those like the human metrics personality tests that you can find online. It's kind of like the one that's like it's like very infamous. Like if you go type in human metrics MBTI, first one that probably pops up. And I remember it was it was very hard to answer those questions, and it like the relationship with the person I was in, they kind of wanted to see like, okay, do you match up with how I think and how I see things and whatever. And I had a hard time answering those questions. So like when I got into it, after the relationship failed because apparently we weren't compatible, and it wasn't just based off of that. It
Yeah,
wasn't just based
obviously.
off that. So many other factors, but like it was like that was one thing that I was kind of like, okay, this is something that they are really into because they were very into psychology. And I was just like, I'm going to research the hell out of this, and I'm going to try to like unpack this so that I can maybe figure myself out, because I didn't know how to answer the questions. I actually made them answer the questions. I didn't answer them.
Oh, wow.
And they came up with my type. Yeah. So it was
So
pretty.
what did you get?
So I got ESFP, and but I didn't answer the questions. They answered the questions for me.
Right.
They as INFJ, and I think that their mind frame was more of like, you know, I don't like, we're very opposite, and you tend to not see the big picture like how I see the big picture. So they typed me as mostly like S answers. And then
Uh,
they saw themselves as very like J because I was very spontaneous apparently. And they typed me as P, but we were both feelers, and I was more extroverted. They were more introverted. And I was just kind of like, I was like, okay, whatever. Like, I don't really see why this should affect the relationship, but it
right.
was something that it kind of like I said, it didn't like completely determine the whole entire relationship. It was more of like a it was something that it piqued my curiosity, just because of the fact that I wanted the relationship to improve. So I was like, how do I learn this so that I can make this other person happy? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. So did you learn it more after that? You got further into it? You got another type at some point or?
Oh, yeah, I got into it for a very long time. I met so many. A lot of my online friends are from the MBTI groups, surprisingly.
Oh,
So
wow.
it was very exciting, where I went on the typology forums and whatnot, and I was one of those like, I'm I/E and like whatever. And I remember getting I remember, what was it? I think I for the longest time I thought it was ISTP, and then I was like ENTP, and then I was ESTP, and then I was INFP, and then ISFP, and I was
Oh,
just
okay.
like
All right.
going through all these different types, just
Okay,
because I was just
but then you got into the OP community and you had to give a type before you started that, right?
oh yeah, yeah. Before the OP community, I didn't actually reveal my type
Right.
to any. I kind of kept it a little private, only because I didn't want to be identified as that. Like, I wanted to still talk as a person. And I felt like people were. I'm like, wow, people are really obsessed about this, to the point where it's like I'm almost scared to say this is my type, because I'm afraid of judgment. I was afraid that people were going to be like, oh, that's a lame type, or you're
Okay.
complete. Oh, because I remember the last
That's a
type
decider issue right there, man.
uh, I don't. I mean, I'm typed through David Chan. Like, I have some EJ in me.
Right.
Um, but I remember like I would not want to tell people my type, just solely due to fear that people were gonna like not like just not accept me, I guess you can say, just because
Right.
acceptance has been something in my life that I've struggled with earning from a lot of people. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like a very decider issue. Okay. So then what type did you put down for Dave and Shannon? Or you didn't put one down at all?
I didn't put one down. I mentioned in one of my videos ISFP or
Uh,
ENFJ. So I was like, I'm not sure if maybe I'm ISFP or ENFJ, and um yeah, like when I did my video, I didn't really feel like I was being 100% authentic, mostly because I scripted everything out and I was like rehearsing it, and I remember my parents were home at that time and the walls are very thin, so I had to be very quiet. And I don't know
right.
if they really like, and I didn't want my parents hearing me because I didn't want them asking me, "Oh, what were you talking about?" So I was kind of like laying it low. And I remember when they did a response video back to me, Dave and Shan, they were like, "Oh yeah, he has like this quiet energy and he's very much like the other people that talk." And I'm like, "Oh my god, you have to like, oh, you have to see me in real life," because I just felt like my videos
Yeah.
weren't really doing justice. You know what I mean?
It's
But
your fault
you know,
though.
it is my fault. It really fault. I should have just went in. I should have had like a glass of wine or something and just
Yeah.
done my video or been in my car. I realized that
Right.
I have such an easier time talking in my car than I do in my room, because in my room I can get distracted. I can get like a knock on the door. In my car, it's kind of like no one bothers me. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So like, I wish I discovered that earlier.
So
But
that sounds really IJ too, like the whole planning, the writing it out, the practicing, rehearsing.
yeah, I mean, even before this interview, I told my like my mom had to go grocery shopping. We have this narrow driveway, and my car was in front of hers. So I was like, "Mom, I need you to move your car before you go because I'm gonna be doing something and I can't be interrupted." So we like switched cars. So it's like I'm always thinking ahead, and
Right.
I think because I was actually typed as demon demon OI.
Yeah.
Um, like, but the thing is like I'm not really a great. I mean, Dave and Shen, they say like, you know, you can't go based off of what you can do, what you can't do, but it's
Right.
like improvisation is probably the one thing that I struggle with the most. Like I can't go anywhere if somebody's like, "Hey, you want to do something?" I'll be like, "Yeah, sure." When they're like, "Tonight," I'm like, "Oh, I can't." Goodbye, you know.
Uh,
So like I do know that
but like
I
you
kind
should
of,
be, if you're really are an EJ, you should be balanced on chaos and control. Just tend toward more one side, no?
well, yeah, I mean, like that's like that was the thing, because like yeah, I tend to feel like I'm more of an EJ just because I've
Right.
seen what double deciders look like. I've seen what IPs look like and EJs look like, and I feel like double deciders are way more calm than me. Like when I'm like if I'm out and about, I'm literally like probably the quietest person you'll ever meet. But when I talk to somebody, I'm always gonna be obviously very much like about them. So that's why I
Right.
felt more on like the EJ side, and I was surprised that I got the double decider. And
Right.
I've
Yeah, yeah. That
I've
is a
yeah,
surprise.
so it's just like oh my gosh, like I feel like I screwed up and I feel like I did this to myself. And I don't, and like I said, I'm like, I don't blame anyone but me. So like I feel like that's
Yeah.
maybe me taking responsibility for like my demon or something.
But yeah, no,
So
you're right though. Like it's good to take responsibility. It's responsible,
yeah,
so there's nothing wrong with that. But so
yeah.
you definitely seem more like a classic EJ because you're talking about control over chaos as well. I also heard
Mhm.
you saying a lot. I don't know before. I don't know. I don't know. Like like
Yeah.
we were talking a little bit, and that's really classic of being a demon sensory, saying I don't know.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, I never really thought of it in that way. I mean, the thing like when it comes to certain things, I'm just kind of I get very overwhelmed. Like I wouldn't know how to change a tire or how to like do taxes or anything like that. Like things like that, I have other people like, can you show me or can you do it for me? Like
Right.
it's one, yeah,
Also,
it's one of those.
I'm noticing your blast is pretty good. It's pretty good, and like also in the group, I see your blast. It just goes. You have no problem talking.
I feel like it's a lot easier when I'm talking to somebody else. You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean? Like it's so much easier when I'm connecting with somebody as
right.
opposed to camera by myself, and I'm just like, I'm not getting any feedback. Come on,
Yeah, yeah,
tribe. Like I'm on the live videos, I'm waiting for people to like make comments, and I'm just like
right,
really frustrating because I don't want to touch any buttons while I'm driving. God forbid there's a cop behind me and I'm gonna get screwed over. But
right,
you know, it's like one of those things where I feel like these interviews would probably really bring to light more of me, actual
right.
me, to like facade me. You know what I'm
Yeah, yeah,
saying?
yeah, for sure, for sure. Okay,
Yeah.
so what's more important to you? What works, or if people are happy?
What works are if people are happy. So, okay, I'm more concerned about disappointing people, and I guess maybe you can't really decipher between what works or whatever, because I'm sure like any extroverted decider is going to want to like focus on, am I disappointing this person?
Right,
But I'm more concerned, I feel like, with the emotions of people, and and I was told that can also be my feminine FI according to my type.
right.
By the way, I don't think I mentioned my type, did I?
No, we didn't mention your type yet. I just got you as an EJ already, so I'm trying to figure out what the first letter is
Okay.
there. Yeah.
So yeah, like with me, it's more about like it is more about people's emotions. Like and I don't know if maybe I'm coming from like a demon place. I'm speaking from that, but like I feel like it's more of an authentic place where if I see somebody upset, I'm gonna want to go up to them and make sure
Right.
that whatever's bothering them, I can elevate their mood.
Are you
But
in touch with your own feelings? Do you know how you feel?
yeah, I
Yeah.
do. I'm not oblivious to it, but it's not easy for me to like if I'm let's say I'm doing something, I'm out somewhere and something's really bothering me, but I'm around other people, I'm not gonna like there have been times in the past due to people that I've hung out with where I kind of like went to the corner and sulked a little bit,
Right.
but majority of the time I'm usually very like I'm not gonna let whatever is bothering me at this moment affect anybody else. I'm going to try to enjoy myself, have a good time, not really make people kind of like question. Like I feel very uncomfortable when people come up to me and say, "Hey, are you okay? Is there something wrong?" Because I
Right.
feel like that's putting them in a place where they have to take care of me, and I don't want them to take care of me because then I feel weak. You know what I
Right.
mean?
What about
I feel like,
validation? You enjoy the validation
of what? Which part?
of tribe validation?
I do. I mean,
Yeah.
I
Do you
I
feel like
feel
you're
like
addicted
that's
to it?
yes.
Yeah.
Like I even stupid little things like my like we this is like a random completely arbitrary like story, but we just got a bathroom our bathroom redone. My mom is like very like SIIJ, like she wants everything to be perfect as if it's like in a museum. And there have been times where I would try to do it up to her standard and she's like, nope, not good enough, nope, not good enough. And it just would bring me into such like a like I guess it would be like a demon state because I felt very like depressed and I was like over analyzing like why am I not good enough? How come this doesn't live up to her standard? And it's like I love my mom to death, but
For
I do think that
reasons. You're coming up with demon reasons? Like you weren't able to figure out the reasons?
well it was more of like what more do I have to do to like because it's like I thought I did a good job.
Right.
I thought that my like the way I went about doing what she asked of me as out of respect for her stuff. Like, you know, this was her project, and I felt like I was respecting it the way that I thought it should be respected, and it clearly wasn't. And it was like it just kind of put me into I guess like a state of like you know like why should I even care anymore kind of thing. Like
Hmm.
why should I have to worry about her all the time? Like it's like and that's like
Right.
what it is like with a lot of people too. Like
You want
I
that
feel like
approval.
yeah, it's hard to explain it just because it's like I have to really just like pull back and pull up something, but yeah, like I want her like that's actually what I've been fighting for all my life is the approval of my family, and it's
Right.
like it's been tough,
Right.
so because it feels like it's never good enough,
Yeah,
you know.
that's okay. You're without a doubt a decider, man. I don't know if it's DI or DE, but that's what you got. Yeah. So okay,
Yeah,
so they typed you as having TE first?
no, they type me as having
SE, SETE, yeah.
SE first, and they have me as TE as my second savior, so it's my third function.
Right.
Yeah. So that
Do
would
do you see
be
yourself as having SE? As SE having being a savior, like aesthetic, in your body, experiencing things around, not missing things happening in the world?
well, that's actually a funny thing is like with SE, I'm trying to like think to myself like how do I SE in life? because it's like living in the moment is probably the hardest thing that I've been struggling with for a lot of my life, because I'm always thinking about where do I want to be, but like I can't. It's not like I can't SE. I for a living I work as a private coach for people in fitness, so it's like I can see when somebody's like body is off in terms of like imbalances and whatnot. So it's like
Right.
if they're forming a movement and their hips are shifting, like it took me a long time to be able to like to hone in on it, but like I'm able to see it, and it's like
Right.
now I see it everywhere. It's kind of like just yesterday, my coworkers and myself, we were all talking about a class that we were going to do for members, and we saw this person working out, and we're just like, oh, that person has really tight calves, and like look at like how their hips are shifting, and it's like, and it's kind of like one of those things where like when I finally like when I understand what I'm looking for and I see the SE, it's like, okay, now I can see it. Now I see what I'm looking for everywhere and every person. And I can analyze a person's movement and their body and how and how like their body is probably going to fail them over time if they don't fix it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So yeah, that's N and S together. I'm trying to figure out if it's NE or SE, but yeah, for sure. Like let's how do you perceive time? Do you perceive like what's eternal for you? Do you perceive that like a vivid event that happened in your life, is that eternity for you, or do you perceive more that um like a conceptual time, like there's something. Oh man, I don't even know how to ask this question right.
Well,
I'm trying.
I can tell you like how I view time. I don't view time as linear. Like
No.
it's more of like it's unfolding, and I see it as um I actually used to draw this all the time when I was a kid in high school. Like I see it as like spirals that are connected. Um so my thing is that I've had friends in the past where they would if I didn't, let's say, talk to them for a while, they would get very offended. They'd be like, how come you haven't talked to me, like are we not friends anymore, whatever, and they would get very very offended by it. And then I would have other friends where it's kind of like I haven't seen them for a long time, and then it feels like no time has passed. And the
Right.
way I view time is that way, where it doesn't matter how long you've been apart, because you can take any moment and like, so basically you can take any moment, you can pause it, and then you can restart it when you want to enter that moment again. So if I haven't seen a friend in a really really long time, and I see them, finally for the first time in like 3 years, we just pick things up where we left off. Like, and it's not something to me where I don't really worry about it. Like I don't really worry about like where time is going, because like I mean I do think about, you know the death of people in my family. Like I at one time when I got a puppy years ago, and I thought about, okay, how am I going to prepare for when we have to put him down, because I've never had a dog before, and I had to like put myself through that emotional process. And when the time came, I was the one that actually had to take care of the situation, right? Because like my family, they were all distraught, and I had to be the one to like drive the car to the hospital and take him into the room and bring him back out, and everyone else was crying, and I felt like it was my responsibility to make sure that everybody was okay, and that the dog was finally, like, my dog, his name was Cody, that Cody was finally put to rest in a peaceful way. Like, and I didn't cry until he was gone.
Hmm.
So it was one of those things where I didn't let my emotions affect my dog. So I didn't want my dog to feel scared, especially because I was holding him, and I didn't want him to feel like whatever situation he was in, like he didn't know what was going on, I feel like. And I felt awful. He had heart disease, so I was like we have to put the like, and I had to be the one to make the decision for him. Like we had to put him down, because we were like, should we wait a couple more days? But he could barely like stand up. He could barely breathe. I'm like, no, we have to take him tonight. And it was the hardest thing that we had to do, because he was like my best friend. And but I was very very calm in the situation, because I was like, okay, I prepared for the situation mentally. I saw this, like, this was inevitable,
Right.
and I just went and I just did it, and it
H-
was. And
How do you see the present moment and the universe around you? Do you see it more as patterns, or do you see it more as sensory?
the present moment, I guess I see it more as sensory, like like in front of me, like when I'm driving. If it's funny because
Do you see possibilities around you?
in terms of what, like, oh, I can go down this road, or like where would this lead, or like what kind of possibilities?
I'm trying to think because I'm trying to differentiate here between NE and SE. So, 'cause-
I I think that it's more of an SC thing, only
yeah,
because like when I'm driving, and this happens all the time. Like things, I can see things in the corner of my eye, and I'll be able to notice it's like cops or something. It's weird. Like I'll know where to look for a cop. It just happens. Like
right.
cops
But
usually
that
sit
could
and
be like that could be a strong SI too.
maybe, but it's more of kind of like it could be SI, but like the thing
Because you were
is like
talking about the patterns being able to pick up how people walk. So, but it could
well like
also be an I.
it could, because I think that what I'm doing, like, because I feel like I spoke with a friend, I spoke with Kimberly yesterday, actually. She's one of
Right.
my
Yeah.
good friends.
Yeah.
I love her. And we were talking about something, and she was relating this one situation to a different situation. And I said, oh my gosh, I said, that's brilliant. I said, you should write that down. She's like, oh, I don't want to write it down. I'm like, why? Is it too like SI for you? Like I said, write down exactly what you just told me. Like this situation and this situation equals this. So like this, I said, you extracted that pattern beautifully. I said, but
Right.
you should write it down so that you remember it next time, so that whenever you feel like this thing is bubbling up, you can just look at the SI of it and be like, oh yeah, that's right, that pattern. Because they're
Right.
always looking to gather all these new patterns, and it's like they'll probably forget. Like they'll drop a pattern and look for another one, look for another one. So that's why
Right.
I feel like
And so you don't feel like you're dropping patterns and seeing patterns. You see more like you
I
have
lock it.
understandings that you remember, like understandings that get built up over long periods of time.
Yes, 100%, hundred
Okay.
percent, 100%.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's interesting. Okay,
Hmm.
so let's assume you have that demon TI. How do you see that? How does that affect you?
It's if I do have demon TI, and I'm sure if Dave and Shannon were watching this, they'd probably be laughing because they'd be like, "No, you don't have demon TI." Okay, yeah, I get it. But if I were to say, because like this is what at least what I think, it would be more of my self confidence. Like I don't necessarily think that I don't think that I'm intelligent, and people tell me all the time, Joe, you're really good at what you do, and I don't believe them. And so like I feel like that's why I keep on chasing after them to say, tell me I'm good, tell me I'm good. Tell me I'm valuable. Like I struggle with that at my last job. Like I didn't think that I was good, and I felt like I needed to be better, and I was like, how do I make myself better? And I couldn't do it. Like I felt like I needed the tribe to do it for me and make it so that I could succeed from them telling me that I'm good enough. Like it's one of those weird things where, and this is like everywhere in life. Like I struggle with body dysmorphia too, and I judge my appearance a lot, like a lot more than I probably should. And I've had a couple people recently tell me, like, they compliment me. I'm not saying this from like a like, oh, look at
Yeah,
me way.
yeah,
I'm
yeah. I got you. Yeah.
saying, like they said to me, they're like, wow, you have really good symmetry and all this and that. And I'm like, really? I was like, this is the things that I've been like picking on myself all the time. Like, oh, it could be better. It could be better. Like if only you had that, that would be better. And
Right.
it's more like a
So
very harsh.
you're looking for people outside to give you that confidence, people outside to tell you that you're good enough because
Yeah,
you don't have it on your own. You don't feel that you're good enough by yourself without someone telling
yeah,
you.
yeah.
Right.
It's been rough, and it's kind of like it's one of those things where I wonder if I'll ever be at that point where I won't
Right.
have to rely on people to say it. But I feel like when when I stop telling myself when I stop telling myself, like you could be better in these ways because you don't have this. I need to start telling myself you could be better, but focus on what you have and use that to your advantage. And I feel like that's where, like, if I do have TI, that's where that would come in, where I would be able to kind of be like, okay, like what is true for me? What do I know to be true in my heart and how I see myself? And it's like that's man, that's like that's hard. It really really is. It's one of those I think that it definitely stems from my, like, high school, and I was picked on a lot. I wasn't exactly the most popular kid, and I tried, and I feel like this is where, this is, if I do have FE, this is where it came in when I was a kid, where I would try to mesh with the popular kids, and I would try to want to be interested in what they're interested in, and do what they're doing just to kind of get their approval.
Right.
And it had to do with my my family's disapproval of people that I wanted to hang out with, people that I thought were cool.
Right.
And it was kind of like they didn't my family didn't think they were, I guess, valuable, so
Right.
they restricted me from hanging out with them, and they were like, try to make friends with these people. And I did. My brother was one of the popular kids in school too, and he like had these really cool friends. My parents were like, try to hang out with people like your brother hangs out with, and I did. But it didn't really, it didn't feel right. It didn't make sense. I was like, I don't like these people. Like, why the hell? So maybe that could be TE reasons, but it was more of like, I wanted to be valued, and I wanted people to look up to me, and I wanted them to see me as something, as something more than just like the weird kid, because I was definitely the weird kid growing up. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, that was rough.
So, okay, so what do you think you can do to work on your identity? What do you think you can do to get yourself to be confident in who you are without that need for approval?
Stay away from assholes.
Yeah.
Yeah, just stay away from
But
people who
but
don't.
there's going to be assholes. Like they're going to come and you need to be like strong in yourself.
No, I understand that, but the thing that I've learned, and this is what I've learned growing up, and it's actually served me very, very well. Um, I know now what I'm looking for, and it's taken me a really, really long time, but I know what I'm looking for when I meet people, and I know what
Right.
people serve me just by like a few conversations with them or whatever. Like, I'll know, all right, maybe this person isn't going to serve me good in life because their attitude is a little negative. So I'm going to, like, wish them well and let them go. And a couple of times I've anchored myself to people who weren't good for me, and I wanted to fix whatever it was that wasn't making our friendship good.
Right.
And I felt very discouraged when I couldn't. I would always blame myself. And so finally, I would just kind of easy, like, slip away and just be like, and just basically lose touch, just to kind of avoid any sort of conflict. But it was more of like it was also more of like like catharsis for me, where I wouldn't have to feel like I'm obligated to them, and
Yeah.
making them, you know what I mean? Like, making them feel like there's something wrong with them. Like, I didn't want them to feel like just because I didn't want to hang out with them that there was something wrong with them. But at the same time, I needed to trust whatever my instincts were telling me, trust what I thought I needed for myself. And
Right.
it's become a lot more strict in like who I let in and who I
So,
keep in.
yeah, so this is like you're still dealing with people though. But like what do you want for yourself regardless of people? Just think like maybe tomorrow everyone's dead and you're the only one alive. What do you want for yourself? You know what I mean? Forget the people.
Everyone's dead.
Yeah, your apocalypse situation. What do you want
uh
for yourself? Like think about you. How can you build yourself regardless of people? Who cares? You don't need them. You know what I mean?
yeah. um if I could have it my way.
Yeah.
God, I don't think I've ever asked myself that question.
To build your own identity, to become who you want to be, not like what the world around you should be. Who do you want to be?
I want to be strong. I want to be confident. I want to be kind to myself. Um, and I want to be, I guess I want to be more connected to to me. If I could have it my way, I'd be more connected to my own personal identity.
Yeah.
I would love I would love to have more of a, who are you? Where are you going? Why are you going there? And what can you do to build support around you so that people want to want to have you in their life? So that's something that I feel
Right.
is
And still the end goal is for people to have you in your life. Like you're still
right.
thinking about the people. Yeah.
Well,
That's interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway,
I feel
yeah.
like, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like for me too, like people are important to me too because I'm an IP, right? Like I still
Hmm.
have that whole tribe thing that I want to build myself up first so that people will accept me after.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But
And you're doing a really great job of that. I will tell you that. You're doing like, I love your videos. Like, your videos are friggin' awesome, dude. And I'm so happy to finally be featured on one. I'm just like, I hope that
you're
everybody else
you're
is.
doing you're doing an awesome job, man. You're being very true. You're letting people see what an EJ struggle is, and you're being honest. And like, if people don't appreciate you for that, then they can just get off my channel because that's what we're here for.
I love that attitude. It's great. I can never say something like that, but I
Yeah,
love that you say it. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But
But
yeah,
cool. Okay, so tell me a little bit about your NI. Are you in touch with your NI then? Like, how do you,
yeah. I definitely think that I am, and I know that, this is like, it's so funny how I'm so naturally able to speak about this, because it's like I never really tell people. I never talk to people about this. I
right,
don't want people to. I don't want people to say, "Oh no, you're not," because of this and this and that and this and that. Because it's like, the way people perceive me really does affect me, and it's more of like a, I don't want to create any sort of animosity by saying what I believe. You know what I mean? Like, this is what
right,
I believe true for myself. I think that I have very, very good NI. I think that even though I'm not somebody who um is always like, you know, um I have my future in mind, but I'm not like, I haven't like written anything out. Like, I know where I'm going. I know that I want what I want to do eventually, and I know that I want to. I know where I'm headed. Like, it's
right.
it's it's clear to me, and it's kind of like sometimes I will, like, I will trust my NI too much to the point where it's kind of like, maybe you shouldn't have done that. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like, maybe you should have taken in a little bit more before you had this, like, this perception, and
Right.
then you that decision kind of thing where.
I like to think of it as like, the horse races, how like they have got the blinders on. And so,
Yeah.
they plan out before they open the gate. Once the gate's open, that's it. They're running. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I feel like I have the ability to look also and be like, maybe I should look before I
Yeah.
leap.
Right.
Sometimes, because, like, the thing is, and I'll say this, from a place of honesty. Like, I've made decisions that I listened to other people, and I feel like that's my biggest downfall, is letting other people tell me how to go about doing things, instead of
Right.
telling, this is how I want to go about doing things. Like, that's probably the hardest thing. But it's kind of like, when they tell me their, like, either their reasons, or why they think it would be the best, or whatever, like, it it kind of like helps me to, um like, I tend to, I kind of like take that, and I just like play around with it a little bit. Like, I'll say, okay, well, if I do decide to do this, like, I need to, like, this is where I'm going to go. And if I don't do it, then I'm just going to be miserable, kind of thing. And I feel like that sounds like, okay, you're going based off of their thinking. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm listening to what they're saying, because they're obviously going to give me the reasons, but I'm not going to listen to it if I don't think that if it doesn't make any sense. But I'll agree with them. I'll be like, yeah, sure, great, for sure, 100%. But then I'll just be like, okay, whatever. Like, I don't really, I'm tuning you out, because I don't
Right.
really agree, kind of thing. Um,
Do you feel like you understand people?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
100%, 100%. Like, I feel like I understand people a little bit too much to the point where like people tell me things and it's like I don't even ask them. They just pull me to the side and start like unloading on me and I'm just kind of like, uh-huh, okay, yeah. But like I don't do it like that, but I'm just kind of like I can't be like, like I really don't want to hear this. Like I can't say that. I can't say that because then what's gonna happen? Then they're just gonna then they're gonna be like, oh well, you're a jerk or you're an asshole or whatever. And I don't want to create that. I don't want to create that kind of
Right.
like animosity or whatever. So I let people just say whatever they want to say.
Right.
And
That's
it's
what it
it's
feels
kind
like in my interviews for some reason. Just kidding.
of oh, you're funny. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm probably
No, 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 not you specifically. No, no, no. EJ, it's okay.
who knows? I mean, like, yeah, it's people understanding people is probably like my greatest strength, and that is what the tribe constantly says to me. That's
Right.
like the one thing that I can be confident on. I guess in my own identity, I can be very confident that I understand people to a fault where it's almost like I wish I understood them less so that I didn't have to deal with their bullshit. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I put up with so much bullshit because I understand the person. And that
Right.
maybe like they'd be like, oh, well, that's double decider. But it's more of like everybody
It's
has
NF.
okay.
Yeah.
That could,
It's a good FE. Yeah.
I feel so guilty, like not I feel guilty that like I'm saying like these things and whatever, like and you're saying that's FE or whatever and Dave and Shannon, I'm like, oh my god, I don't want them to hate me. Like,
They
I'm
won't hate you,
so
man. You just got to be honest. You got to be honest, and it's okay.
I know,
It's all
but
good.
but I'm sure that they're like there's gonna be
No, it's okay, man. Like, look, let's put it this way: mistypings will happen. It's just a guarantee. Like, it's Murphy's law. If something
yeah,
bad, if it can happen, it will happen. And obviously,
yeah,
it's a potential, especially if you doctor your video and you rehearse it
yeah.
100 times, and then you record it in your room when your parents are listening, and you're trying to keep quiet. Yeah, man.
Oh my god! But yeah, it was so bad because I was just like, ah, I'm kicking myself for that just because like I know what I should have done. I should have waited. I should have like tried to because my thing was like, oh, I get the theory. Like it's just using the same stuff, no problem. I got it. Like, and I was just like, oh my gosh, and like this is where like the panic came up. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to answer these very very accurately. If I don't, they might get it wrong. Like, and
Yeah, wow,
that's
that's ST. That's complete ST. Like, let's answer it accurately and specifically. And oh man, yeah, that's
but
why
if
you
I
got an ST, dude.
oh my god, it was bad
But like
because like
I saw your video and I did see Effie. Like I did. But like
really,
that's only because yeah, but that's only I don't know. Whatever. We'll stop here.
well, I was gonna say
I
like what if
want to
like
keep it short anyway. Yeah. Go ahead.
what if it's like feminine FI? Like that's what they were
It could
saying.
be. It could be. It could be.
Could be.
We could just be going down like the wrong NI tunnel here and just but like that's EJ problems that I'm hearing. Like there's no way that's not EJ. There's no way you're double decider. So
Yeah.
even if it is TE, it's EJTE.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. Yeah. Like the double decider thing. Like I know that, like online, it's easy to talk to people because there's a screen blocking you, and like you don't
Yeah.
like you can write out your answers before, like
Yeah,
before
you could take an
looking at
hour to write an answer, man.
exactly, and
Yeah.
it's just kind of like it's good. Whereas like these interviews, they're fine. Like I'm doing. I feel okay. Everything like you're okay. I'm okay. We're good. The thing is that I don't I feel like I sound stupid when I talk because I'm just like I feel like I'm just rambling on about nothing and it's not really making any sort of I'm like it's like do I sound like an idiot right now? Like that's just how like that's what's going
Well,
through my head. Like
if people made it this far and they thought you sounded like an idiot, they would have stopped before. So they made it this far.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
It's like but honestly, Joey, thank you very much. Like you were very authentic and I really appreciate it. It was really awesome. And
Thank you.
it was really nice to have you and we'll be in touch and we'll try to work out something else in the future for sure.
All right, excellent. I'm really excited. I can't wait to talk
Yeah.
to you soon.
Yeah. Later.
Good one. All right, take care.